So first of all, thank you so much. I know it's raining outside and you guys have made the trek to be here. I'm really humbled. I mean, if I was you, I would be really, I'm not sure I would have been able to come up here in this heavy rain, right? So a bit about me. I am a founder CEO of a company called Mobisy Technologies. Apart from being an entrepreneur, I am a geek. I love coding. I like mountaineering, I like cycling a bit, and yeah, every chance or every opportunity I get to do public speaking, I grab it with both my hands. So that's a bit about me. We'll go a little bit more about what I do. So Bizome is our flagship product. It's a mobile first solution which helps organizations to increase their sales force productivity by at least 70% using our patent pending algorithm. And we're funded by a venture fund called as Ojas Ventures. We have more than 60 customers and more than 10,000 users. And I promise this is the last time I'm going to talk about the product itself. And I'm going to more focus on the challenges that we face in the SME market, selling to SME markets in India. That's the topic Ashish wanted me to talk about, right? So, you guys know, how many of you know, how many SMEs are there in India? Anybody has a guess to venture there? Anyone? How many SMEs do they think are there in India? I'm sorry? 47 million, okay. Anybody else? Right, go ahead, sir. Oh, okay, just waving hands from somebody, sorry. Anybody else? Okay. So yeah, 47 million. I think that comes from a government official data saying 47 million. That includes the Kirana shop next, as well as it includes a cobbler. It includes everybody, right? A guy who drives an auto rickshaw is an SME kind of registration. So that's obviously far from truth, right? We may have maximum around 8 million SMEs which are targetable for selling any kind of software product, right? Leave away all the high-end technology ones. And 8 million is a large number, to be honest with you. So that's what sways a lot of people to come and say, okay, we will sell to SME. And easiest way to reach to SMEs is to reach through mobile devices. But obviously, how do you reach them? Okay, so I'm not going to talk about what all mistakes we did. I mean, we made millions of mistakes when we were approaching SME businesses. And I think, I guess every startup does that. I'm going to talk about few of the successes or few of the things that worked for us. We strongly believe that, as startup, you learn from the successes, you don't learn so much from the mistakes. From mistakes, you learn what not to do, but you don't know what to do. And successes essentially teach you what to do. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what all worked for us, and maybe it helps you in terms of building your own strategies, so to say. Right. So the first lesson I had when I started working on SME market was to get out of comfort zone. So this is our customer, Oxyrich Mineral Water. It's a company which is owned and run by Manikchand group of companies, the makers of famous gutka in India, right? The challenge is, so Manikchand, we approached Manikchand through a reference. The reference customer had experienced 400% growth in his sales after deploying Bizome. So he was all, deploy Bizome. Oxyrich had a similar expectation from us that just by implementing technology, they could increase their sales, exponentially. They obviously had a lot of challenges. It's a perfectly Indian company. Most of their partners who are using this particular software and on mobile as well as on their computers are their distributors. Now, all of their distributors are really small setups. They don't even have computers. Most of them don't know what computer is and smartphone is and all of those challenges, right? Now, we were given a task to automate all of these guys. And we being the techies, right, we know how to code. We can build an awesome product. We were like going and saying, you know what, we have built this mobile first approach. This is the simplest application in the world to use and anybody can use it. But this guy says, okay, but I don't have smartphone or I don't have a computer. I mean, what do you answer to that? I mean, how do you go about doing that? Our team, especially our support team, worked for a month, almost day and night, visited every one of their distributors. I mean, we didn't care about ROI, we didn't care about how much we are spending with respect to how much we are earning, but we actually went and trained each one of these guys physically on basic things in life, how to switch on phone, how to do internet settings, and all of these guys. There are like hundreds of guys we trained during that period. So the lesson for us was that being a technology company doesn't mean our job ends at building technology. Our job was to make sure customer is happy. I mean, the promise to customer, I mean, for him, for a customer, the value doesn't come from just buying a technology. The technology has to work for him. The technology has to grow him sales or productivity or whatever metric that he's measuring us on. And if it means for us to get out of our comfort zone and do something which is completely different than a technology company would traditionally do, we should go ahead and do this. And by the way, now they're doing extremely well with respect to technology, and we do monitor it quite rigorously. Now this is the second customer. Again, an interesting story. I don't know how many of you know, ID Special is a very famous brand, especially in Bangalore. They sell these batters for idlis and dosas, and they have Kerala parathas and so on and so forth. So ID Special is run by a visionary entrepreneur called as Mustafa. Mustafa himself is a techie. He actually had coded in his life before. He started the idli batter business. He's an MBA from IMA. So being a techie, his expectations from software were really high. I mean, he would actually micromanage it himself. I mean, being an MD of a company doesn't mean he wouldn't do that. He would micromanage everything himself. Extremely hard to please customer, extremely hard to please. In my entire 15 years of software industry, this is one person I'm scared of to get called and saying, Mustafa has some problem. So, we had, we automated their entire sales chain. This was the only automation they were using for a long period in time. Bizom was the only automation they were using. Now he had first challenge was all his executives were not even 10th passed. All the guys who were on the field are going to use this mobile-based automation software. They are not even 10th pass guys. So he was like, I have tried 5 softwares, none of them have worked. Why would yours work? I said, okay, let's see. And we actually, again, went down there, talked to his executives. None of them could speak English or Hindi, but we still somehow got through them and actually see how could they use it. They could use it. Mustafa was extremely happy about that. After that, it was like really hard place. I mean, every 100 rupees difference, every 1 unit difference in the software, he would catch on. And I don't know how many of you actually build softwares? Most of you, right? So as it goes in software, there are always bugs, right? And the thing is, he would not stop at saying, okay, you fixed it. He would go on and he would ask you, how did you fix it? What was the problem? And those are the toughest questions to answer, right? So what was the bug? I mean, and we would have some silly bugs as well as a large code goes. And we had to go back and explain to him that this was a problem and this is where we had done it incorrectly and now we have fixed it and hopefully it doesn't happen again and so on and so forth. Now the learning for us from this guy was that, he's one of the hardest customers I have ever met, but he's also one of the best customers. He was one of the early customers we had in Bizom, and amount of help we had from him to get the software stabilized, working faster, and giving, being more productive was immense. On top of that, because he has given us such a hard time, I mean, he never flinches from saying that Bizom is the best mobile-based automation system in India. And anybody who cares to listen, he keeps on telling that, I had tried Nokia Tej, I had tried this, I had tried that, but only thing that worked for me was Bizom because it's extremely simple and these guys make sure it works for you. And that's something that we learned, right? And here is our star customer. So Zynga. Zynga is run by a company called Hector Beverages. Hector Beverages was our lead customer. Zynga is an energy drink. You should try it out. In Bangalore, it's one of the topmost energy drinks. It's overtaken Red Bull. And it's run by 3 visionary founders, Neeraj Kakkar, Suhas, and Neeraj Biyani. And when Zynga approached us, we ourselves weren't sure what we were going to do with Bizom. We essentially gave them a PowerPoint presentation and they said, okay, you seem like smart guys, maybe you will be able to do it. And we implemented the first version. Then now we are associated with 2 years. I mean, they were the first customer, so to say. They tried our alphas, betas, gammas, all sorts of things, kept on giving feedback, helped us completely build the product. See, the learning from Zynga for us is that every product, especially the SaaS product, I mean, we sell in a SaaS space, right? SaaS products are primarily start out as a product-oriented service, which means, you know, I have seen way too many entrepreneurs who keep on saying that, you know, I'm a product company, I'm not a services company. If some customer comes with some request, I'm not going to do that, it's taboo, right? But you are never going to be able to build a full-fledged product unless, especially in a SaaS, I'm only talking about SaaS and mobility space. I'm not qualified enough to talk about web products, right? In a SaaS and mobility space, every product initially will be driven like a service. You will have to listen to your customers very well. You will have to adopt your product, and you will figure out that enhances your knowledge about market, what customer wants, and eventually now you can, today we are in a position where we can tell our customers what is the right way to do. That's simply because we initially listened like crazy to what our customers had to say about us. Zynga is our partner in terms of building our product itself. They have given so many valuable inputs. And essentially, they are one of the reasons why we are like the next generation software as far as the automation on mobile is concerned. And so if you have a product, especially in SaaS mobility space, initially go get a customer, listen to him. Remember, it's almost going to be like a service. Don't worry about ROI. I mean, don't worry. So we started with 4 users in Zynga. 4 users would pay us what, I don't know, 2,000 rupees a month. So don't worry about that. I'm getting 2,000 rupees a month and I'm spending 1 lakh rupees on doing the customizations that this customer wants. Look at those customizations, see if they make sense for your product, and encourage these guys to go and tell you that, you know, give me more, give me more, give me more. Run your product like services, especially in an initial space, is what I would say. This is the most key learning for me in the SaaS mobility space, is be friendly. I mean, generally be friendly. Again, whether it's your partner, whether it's your competitor, whether it's your customer, obviously everybody is going to be friendly, but even for your customer, be very, very friendly. Do not get into, you know, will he steal my idea? Will he steal my customer? Will he steal this thing? And so on and so forth, right? If somebody could build a product as good as yours, then they deserve to steal your customers. But if your product is supposed to be better than theirs, then do not worry. Have a little bit faith. One of my good friends says, be a little bit illogical about it. So, you know, sometimes you might fail in some of these approaches, but it works most often than not. So what we started was, we started building with a channel ecosystem, and we did not know how to build a channel ecosystem. We knew that if we want to reach out to so many SMEs in India, we need to have channels who would sell on our behalf. You know, as most of people who have worked in SME market would tell you, that channels are not as easy to build, especially because they usually don't have motivation to sell somebody else's product. See, they will sell what sells, right? So for Tally, you would get an easily channel partner because they know Tally sells, they know they can sell it to. But Bizome itself is not a great brand. I mean, we are still a new brand. And why would somebody want to go and sell Bizome? The learning we had was that, you know, we worked with few channels who were really key, who were really interested, and most importantly, they had something to gain from him, right? So something like Axiom Consulting, right? So they were already selling ERPs to their customers, and they had this mobile as a gap in the portfolio they had, and they would almost sell it for 0 margins to their end customers. So for them, more important part was actually partnering with us and filling the technology gap that they felt, and hence they would go out of the way, spend their own time, money, resources on actually making Bizome work in the market. And those are the best kind of partners in initial space. The photo there is of a person named Venkat Sham, and there is a slightly longer story about it. Ashish, do I still have time? Okay, so I do have time then, yeah. So I'll tell you a bit of story about Venkat. Venkat is an angel investor himself. He's based in Bangalore. He runs a garage for Bajaj. It's called Bajaj Auto Service. And he started a distribution business for 3M. And that's when we got in touch with him. He had only about 3-4 people who were doing sales on his behalf. A really small customer. I mean, currently our average customers has about 200 people on the field, or on 200 users on the field. So he's a really relatively small customer. But he was very, very enthusiastic about product, right? So we said, okay, why don't you go ahead and try this particular one? And he started using it. I think he experienced something like 15% growth in first month itself in his sales. And he was like ecstatic. He was like, yeah, I got 15% growth. And Lalit, I want you to do this, I want you to do this, I want you to do this. I said, okay, Venkat, hold on. I mean, I only have limited people and I will do this. Anyway, but idea was that we treated him at par with every other customer we had. We have a customer who has 5,000 users also, and we treat him on a similar level as we treat a customer who has 10 users, right? We worked with him, the support, we call it fanatic support, but that's not because we said it's fanatic support and it became fanatic support. It was already fanatic support, so we started calling it fanatic support, right? So we extended the same kind of courtesy that we did to everybody else to Venkat as well. Now, as of today, Venkat is one of our biggest evangelizer. Anybody he meets, he keeps on telling them, use this, it gives you 15% sales growth out of the box. But more importantly, now he's become a really key channel for us. So he approaches his own community, whether it is about all the other garage owners, other 3M distributors, and he has really large reach compared to us. He has really 5,000 plus institutions he has a reach to. And that's only possible because we were being friendly with him. I mean, irrespective of, without worrying about the ROI implications of all of these things. So for any SaaS, I think any SaaS company would tell you that. But from my point of view, if you are in a software as a service business, initial customers, do not worry so much about ROI. Make sure they are extremely happy. Make sure they achieve their goals, strategic goals they set out to do with your software, and you should be fine. Today, yeah, we have all these brands and many more coming with us. We think we are on to something really, really huge, and I think thanks to all of these 3 or 4 lessons that we learned. So, just to reiterate, be nice, be very friendly with your customers, go out of your way, out of your comfort zone, value the feedback of initial customers really well. Hardest customer is possibly the best customer that you would have ever had. And, initially your SaaS product is going to be like service. Do not worry about that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate being your patient. Thanks a lot.